Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining our Zoom call. As you know, I'm Gabe. And,
Hi, Martha.
well, here's our LinkedIn presentation.
And we would like to send you guys a quick poll. So if you guys will be so kind to
Respond.
respond, please.
Oh, sorry. That was not the question. The question is, how familiar are you of? So this is my mess up. The question is, how familiar are you with LinkedIn? Is your LinkedIn complete? Does it need update? Do you don't know the basic, or you don't really know much?
Yes. So do you have a LinkedIn profile? That's kind of like my question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's 6 out of 8. I don't think.
Maybe what is LinkedIn?
So that will be an answer that we will be answering. I mean, a question that will be answered later on.
So the results. Here are the results.
All right. So like most of everybody is familiar with the basics.
Yeah. I'm pretty much sharing it already. So yeah, you have been most of the basics, but which is really awesome because this LinkedIn is just for that. And if you need an update, it's hopefully something that is going to be also very helpful. All right. All righty.
Okay. So to start, a couple of brief explanations on why to use LinkedIn, starting with increasing creates visibility. LinkedIn allows us to be out there and get people interested on what we do at Create. We can also share our amazing work. LinkedIn has a featured section, which I'll go into detail later, but it's great for highlighting and showcasing your work. It also allows us to create national and regional connections and partnerships with districts, nonprofits, and other universities. And also for you, it's a great avenue to increase your own exposure, and you can also showcase your own work and accomplishments while also raising your chances of getting recruited.
So it's important to know that LinkedIn is not necessarily like a Instagram or like any other social media platform. This is strictly professional, and you'll kind of get familiarity with how LinkedIn should look like with this presentation.
Yeah, so starting off with the profile section, I don't think it needs much explanation, but your name, just keep it simple, no nicknames. And then your headline should be a short portion with key terms that make it easy for others to define your identity. And so taking my example right here on the right, I'm a bioengineering student graduating this quarter, and I'm planning to go to medical school. I think those are 3 key things that you guys or any future employee should know about me. And then also make sure your location on your profile is updated. That just makes it easier for job searches, and so employers know where you're located. And then the URL should be customized to be short and simple. Take out the long chains of numbers. That just makes it harder to be shared on your resume or for employers to find your profile on your online. And then lastly, the featured section, that's where you can showcase key things you have done. Put things like research papers, case studies, blogs, events organized, and even your own work. Okay, next slide. All right, so a huge part of your LinkedIn identity lies with your profile photo. Obviously, it's one of the first things people see, so it's all about making the right first impression. And so I have a group of pictures right here on the left, all of which would have a certain thing that should be avoided. And so starting with the top left, that picture is it's blurry, it's cropped, and it's overexposed. Like you can tell they were it's a group picture and they just cropped it to be focused on them. Yeah, don't do that. And then the picture to the right of that one is stretched, and then the lighting is weird as well. So yeah, avoid that. And then the one to the right of that, they're way too far away. Like we can't even see their face, and it's also just not professional. And then moving on to the bottom row of pictures, also that first one on the bottom left, it's just not professional, and they're not even looking at the camera. And then next to that one, I don't think it's a bad picture, but they have like margins on the side, which you're also going to want to avoid. You want your picture to fill out the whole space available. And then the one to the right of that, they're not even looking at the camera. So that's just a no. But then on the other hand, on the right side of the slide, we have Min and Laura's profile pictures, which I think are fantastic examples of what to do with your LinkedIn photo. They're professional, they take up most of the frame, but they also keep everything familiar. They're not going overboard, or like it's not giving off like a false identity. And also remember to not have a crazy background and just avoid having your pet in it. That's just not for LinkedIn. And then also the banner, which is like your bigger like image. Just keep it simple, or you can do like images of you working on past projects, or anything that just kind of ties in with the theme for your profile. Next slide. Then there's the About section, which should consist of your skills and accomplishments and highlight present and future ambitions. You can make sure to include key descriptors that make your profile search friendly. And then also avoid using buzzwords and words such as specialized, experienced, skilled, or focused, and try to mention examples rather than general statements. So like the image on the right with the black background, it says, instead of saying that X person is a great salesperson, try to mention like awards they have received or their past sales metrics. That's just, it gives actual concrete evidence rather than just like blank statements. Then moving on to the social media, you can also link your Twitter or your Instagram, but like be aware that if you do link them, they got to be appropriate, and like employers will most likely see them if they're linked. And then for experience, make sure to add descriptions of what you have done in the past, but not in bullet point form. Keep it like a short summary, it's better. And then for your skills, make sure to add skills that you've picked up throughout your career with a focus on those that employers in your field would like to see. So that can be like saying you're really good at MATLAB, or like with the whole Microsoft Office suite, or any like software like analysis programs. And then yeah, like the image says on the right, when your skills are updated on your page, you're 13 times more likely to get profile views. So now I think Marta is gonna pull up Laura's profile, which we think is a great example. So starting off with the banner, it's simple, but it gives like a nice vibe to her whole like LinkedIn page. It also kind of matches her profile pic, which is good. And she has her name, and then she has the nice little short header, which is like just describes what she does, which is good. Her location is updated. And then moving down a little bit, you have an about section, which she's updated, and it's like gives a good description of what she's focused on and her ambitions are. And then moving on to the featured section, she has past events and things that she's showcasing on her page, which is great. And then moving on further down, so like I mentioned, her experience section, she uses like summary forms to describe the past things she did. And yeah, that's great. And her education is listed, volunteer experience again, using the summary form to describe what she did, and then her skills.
Okay, so you can add at least 5 skills which will optimize your profile with these keywords. And you will find that you will have more people viewing your profile if you do. Adding skills into your profile also gives opportunity for endorsement, which means that other people that you're connected with can basically ratify the skills. Also, another plus is having recommendations. So this is a very important way to prove yourself credible. Recommendations are written by other LinkedIn members as a way to recognize or applaud business, or like the business partners or colleagues. You can get 2 recommendations from each of your most important former positions. And this just highlights the fact that you are a very professional person. So for example, this is just an example of someone who works in an HR as an HR manager. And so this is a person named Sarah. She's extremely passionate about her work and delivers amazing results. Her discussions with me are never about problems, but rather solutions and driven ideas. she is an asset to any company and thrives in a dynamic environment. So you see how like Naomi basically wrote a recommendation to Sarah that it was completely concise, just 3 sentences, and it was mostly focused about her professional persona presented in the workplace. So for example, like if we look into Min's profile, she also has like a section where there is a recommendation section. So she has 3 that has already been there. Very short, not so crazy, just like a few sentences that point out and highlights and accentuates, I believe that's the word, just her professionalism. And how to request a recommendation. That is something that most of us who have very basic LinkedIn, such as myself, have to sort of like figure out. So if you already have a recommendation section, it will be super easy to find and ask a request for a recommendation. The section itself already has that link, but so if you go to a profile, and we can talk about how basic my profile is. I also need to update it. So like if I want to add this recommendation section, I click under my pictures and it's an add section, additional information, and request a recommendation. And so if I click here, let's say I want to ask Gabe for a recommendation, I select the relationship that I have with him, that I worked with him in different companies or whatever. I select the position that I'm in, and like I said, I still have to update a little bit this profile. And then you ask a recommendation, ask for this person to write a recommendation for you. Sorry. If possible, do something more eloquent than this. You don't want this to send this and hopefully they will write you back. Be a little bit more personal about your experience that you have with them. Don't be too wordy either. But certainly if the other person is willing, they will send you a recommendation. Okay. Now, like any other face-to-face networking, building up your network will allow you to grow professionally. So in advanced people search, like the section that I already clicked to look into Min's profile, is the best way to connect with coworkers or people that you have networked with before. And it's an easy way to stay connected with previous people that have given you maybe valuable advice or maybe support in your projects. Also, for those who have very basic profiles, just such as myself, we want to aim for 200 connections. And this is a way to sort of just like push yourself to be more exposed within this platform. So LinkedIn also allows you to keep up with people in your field, like successful people, like influencers, companies, and industry leaders. And this is just for you to sort of have a newsfeed that will be filled with advice and content that is relevant to you in your work field. So this is very important to have this also to gain some insight in what you're doing, what you should be doing, and basically just follow some steps that other people are already doing that seem to be very successful at what they're doing. Joining groups is also a very important way to gain more, to connect with other people. So if you're joining into a group, you should also contribute into the group discussions, and it will help you build up your network, but also knowledge and strengthen your influence in whatever field or industry you're in. So to do that, you go over here into your profile, work, and click on groups. And usually you should have like any options that appear in there that might be relevant to your profile. Since I don't have a lot of my profile, I have to discover what is out there. But if you have a little bit more information on your profile, you probably have groups that have been catered to your field. And so for some of us who are already graduating, this is a really important slide, applying for jobs. It's super simple. I mean, you just go ahead and click on jobs in here. And obviously, if you want to look into a specific skill, or that you want to hone a skill, or maybe you want to work in a specific company, or like a specific title in whatever company, or if you want to go local, or if you want to go specifically to another city, or whatever you need, it should basically like help you figure out what is out there, and especially in the LinkedIn. And if you also search in by zip code or keywords, it will automatically indicate if you have any connections at certain organizations, which is a really, really nice feature to ask. So how can I make myself available for hiring? So if you go to your profile, oh, I'm already okay. Over here underneath open to, it will give you certain options. It will give you two options, either hiring or like open to be recruited or something like that. I already clicked that option. So for example, when I do, it will ask you like, oh, so what is it that you're looking for? Well, job title, I'm looking for a marketing specialist somewhere in San Diego. And I'm actively applying, and I would like it to be full-time. So you save it, and what's really important about this is that recruiters are going to be the only ones who will be looking into it. If you're already an employee, you don't want your employer to find out that you're looking for another job. So just, you want to keep the bridges